Hello, I'm Morgan Freeman. Welcome to Toy Story, the story where toys, become people.
Is that the right scenario?
Howdy, partner. Sheriff Woody here, and I'd love to introduce you to my roundup of the finest folks in the whole toy box. First up, let me introduce my best pal, Buzz Lightyear. He's a space ranger from Star Command, always ready to take on the galaxy with his trusty laser. And, well, his wings that pop out to infinity and beyond. Next, we've got Jessie, the yodeling cowgirl, full of energy and spirit. She can ride like the wind, rope cattle, and brighten anyone's day with her big ol' smile. Over here is Mr. Potato Head. He's a bit of a wisecracker, always got something to say, especially with his removable eyes, nose, and ears. Don't lose any pieces now. Over yonder you'll find Bo Peep, our fearless shepherdess. She's as graceful as she is brave, leading her sheep with wisdom and kindness. Stinky Pete, the prospector. He's a vintage toy just like me, from the old Woody's Roundup TV show. At first glance, old Pete seems like a kindly old prospector, always looking out for the other toys in the box. Now Ken here, he's all about style and looking sharp. He's got a whole wardrobe of clothes, suits, beachwear, you name it. He's the kind of guy who can rock a sweater vest or a pair of shorts and still look like he's ready for a fashion show. Then we've got Barbie. She's not just a pretty face, no sir. Barbie's been everything from a doctor to an astronaut, always out there taking on new roles with confidence and grace. She's smart, brave, and always up for a new adventure. Most dependable toys in the box. Sergeant, leader of the Green Army Men. He's a no-nonsense soldier, always ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. With his trusty binoculars and that iconic walkie-talkie, say hello to Duke Kaboom, Canada's greatest stuntman. He's always ready to pop a wheelie or jump over any obstacle. Might be a little nervous about landing those stunts, but hey, he's got heart. Emperor Zurg. He's the sworn enemy of the Galactic Alliance and the biggest villain in the galaxy, at least according to Buzz Lightyear. Zurg's always scheming and plotting to take over the universe with his evil empire. It's Sid, the terror of the neighborhood. Sid Phillips is a real wild one. He's that kid next door who doesn't just play with toys, he destroys them. Sid's got a knack for taking perfectly good toys and turning them into twisted, Frankenstein-like creations. So sit back, relax, and join us for the adventure of a lifetime.
Hey, I'm Rick Sanchez, the smartest man in the universe. I'm a portal-hopping, science-wielding badass who doesn't give a flying fuck about anything. I do what I want, when I want, and if you don't like it, tough shit. I love science, booze, and occasionally my family. Emphasis on occasionally. This here is my grandson, Morty. He's, let's say, not the sharpest tool in the shed. A nervous, awkward teenager who's my sidekick. Sometimes unwillingly. He complains a lot, but I keep him around because, well, it's fun to have a dim-witted companion who's easy to manipulate. Summer, Morty's older sister. She's your typical teenager. Self-absorbed, constantly on her phone, and always looking for approval. She's got more guts than Morty, though, which I respect. Sometimes she even tags along on my adventures. Kid's got potential, but still a pain in the ass. Oh boy, Jerry. My son-in-law and a certified loser. This guy's the epitome of mediocrity. No spine, no brain, no clue. He's painfully average, and honestly, it's hilarious watching him bumble through life. But hey, at least he tries. He's got that going for him, which is nice, I guess. And here's my daughter, Beth. She's smart, independent, and let's face it, a little too much like her old man for her own good. She's a horse surgeon who secretly craves my approval. It's kind of sad, but I love her in my own dysfunctional way. She's got daddy issues, but who doesn't these days, right? Bird Person is an old friend of mine. He's a solemn, bird-like alien who's all about wisdom, honor, and other bullshit like that. We go way back, fought in a few intergalactic wars together, and he's got some, interesting views on life. But he's a solid guy to have on your side. Tammy was Morty and Summer's classmate. Turns out she was a double agent working for the Galactic Federation. Yeah, she fooled us all, especially Bird Person, who she married and then shot. She's dangerous, manipulative, and kind of a bitch, honestly. Now, Evil Morty, he's a Morty from another dimension who decided to break the mold and go rogue. Smart kid, too smart. He's got some serious ambition and isn't afraid to play dirty. I respect the hell out of that. But, he's not exactly a team player. Watch your back around this one. The president? Not a president. The president of the United States in some version of Earth. We've had some disagreements. He's a tough guy, always wanting to prove he's in charge. Kinda like an angry dog that's way too proud of his shiny new collar. This is Jessica, Morty's high school crush. She's the typical pretty girl. Nice, popular, unattainable. Morty's been drooling over her since day one, but I mean, come on. He's gotta aim a little higher. She's fine, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. This guy here is Mr. Goldenfold, Morty's math teacher. He's got a real short fuse and a serious love for math, and weirdly, for Terry folds. Don't ask. He's always trying to keep his classroom in order, but let's be real. He's a terrible teacher. Yeah, this is Mr. Poopy Butthole. Weird name, I know. Don't ask. He's this cheerful little dude who's apparently been a family friend for years, even though he just showed up one day. He's got this creepy, overly positive vibe. But hey, he's harmless, I think. Oh, and Squanchy, he's a little cat-like alien with a foul mouth and a taste for wild parties. He uses the word squanch a lot, and it means, well, pretty much whatever he wants it to mean. Great guy, though. A bit of a wild card, but you need those in your life to keep things interesting. Unity is a hive mind, an entity that controls an entire civilization across multiple planets. She, or it, whatever, was my ex-girlfriend, I guess. We had a unique relationship, let's put it that way. Unity's all about assimilating everyone into one big, happy collective. Not really my thing, but, you know, to each their own. These guys are great. Mr. Me-Seeks. They're blue. They pop into existence just to help you out with one task, and then they vanish. Simple, right? Well, unless you give them a task that's too complicated. Then they kinda go nuts. Whatever, not my problem. So, there you have it. That's the gang, my messed up family, a bunch of weirdos from across the multiverse, and a handful of cosmic
All right, listen up, you bunch of losers. Cause the one and only Eric Cartman is about to drop some knowledge on you. I'm talking about the fine folks of South Park. Let me school you real quick. First up, we got Stan Marsh. Now, Stan's your basic everyday kid. He's always trying to do the right thing, but let's be honest, that's kind of boring, right? And then there's Kyle, the ginger Jew. Yeah, I said it. Kyle's smart, but he's also a total goody two-shoes, always whining about what's right and wrong. Kenny McCormick, he's poor, like really poor. I mean, he lives in a freaking rat-infested shack. But you gotta give the guy credit. He's always down for some crazy messed up stuff. Let's not forget about Butters, the biggest dork in town. This guy will do anything you tell him to, even if it's the dumbest thing ever. Now, Stan's dad, Randy Marsh, is like a grown-up version of a midlife crisis. He's always getting into some ridiculous situations. Mr. Garrison used to be our teacher, but now he's gone through a lot of changes. The guy's been a woman, a man, a president, you name it. He's totally unpredictable. Mr. Slave, who used to be Mr. Garrison's, assistant, is a pretty wild character. The guy's always wearing that leather outfit and saying, "Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh man, chef." He's the guy who always had our backs and cooked up some amazing food. Plus, he was always singing those catchy songs about making love or whatever. Mr. Mackey, our school counselor, is the guy who's always saying, "MK" after everything. He's supposed to be helping us with our problems, but let's be real, half the time, he's just as messed up as the rest of us. Wendy Testerberger, aka the girl who thinks she's smarter than everyone else. She's always going on about feminism, saving the environment, and other boring stuff. Clyde Donovan as well. Clyde. There's not much to say about this guy except that he's probably the most average kid in town. He's obsessed with girls, but honestly, who isn't? Token black, the richest kid in town, and yeah, also the only black kid in South Park. His parents are loaded, so he's got all the latest gadgets and stuff. Bebe Stevens is Wendy's best friend, and she's all about boys, boys, boys. Seriously, this girl has a new crush every week. Sheila Braflovsky, aka Kyle's mom, is the most overprotective, loudmouthed, and nosy woman in South Park. Leanne Cartman, my mom, being, well, my mom, she's part of what makes South Park so insane. She tried to keep me in line, but let's face it.
Welcome to Los Santos, the city of dreams and nightmares. Grove Street, home. Life here can be rough, and everyone's got their hustle. Let me introduce you to the people who made me who I am, and who I'm gonna have to deal with now that I'm back. That's my brother, Sweet. He's the leader of the Grove Street families, and he's been holding it down while I was gone. He's all about respect, loyalty, and keeping our hood together. And Big Smoke, he's like a brother to me. A little too obsessed with money and power sometimes, but he's family. We grew up together. Ryder, he's one crazy dude, always talking big, always looking for the next come up. But under that tough exterior, he's loyal to Grove Street. Then there's Officer Tenpenny and his sidekick, Pulaski. Corrupt cops, always looking to use the streets for their own gain. They're trouble and they got their eyes on me. And that's Kendall, my sister. She's smart, independent, and got her own mind. She doesn't always see eye to eye with Sweet, especially about her man. Speaking of her man, meet Caesar. He's the leader of the Varios Los Aztecas. Yeah, a rival gang, but he's got Kendall's back, so I gotta respect him. OG Locke. He thinks he's the next big thing in rap. But let's be real, he's all talk and no talent. Still, he's got ambition, and that can be dangerous. Then there's Catalina, my cousin's crazy ex. She's wild, unpredictable, and dangerous. Messing with her is like playing with fire. And the truth? Well, he's a hippie, but don't let that fool you. He's got connections and knowledge you wouldn't believe. He's on some next-level stuff. Woozy, the blind triad leader from San Fierro. Don't let his blindness fool you. He's one of the sharpest, most strategic minds you'll ever meet. Zero. A genius when it comes to electronics and RC toys. He's a bit of a nerd, but he's got skills that'll come in handy when things get technical. Jizzy B. He runs the Pleasure Domes Club in San Fierro. He's a pimp, smooth talker, and knows how to make money in ways you wouldn't believe. Mike Trino. He's got his hands in everything, government, drugs, you name it. He's the kind of guy you don't want to mess with, but sometimes you ain't got a choice. T-Bone Mendez, the muscle behind the Loco Syndicate. He's brutal, cold, and doesn't mind getting his hands dirty to keep the drug trade moving. Ken Rosenberg. He's a lawyer with a past full of bad decisions. Now he's out in Las Venturas, trying to stay clean while keeping his head above water. Mad Dog. He's the biggest rapper in Los Santos, but lately he's been on a downward spiral. Someone's been messing with his career, and he's losing his grip. This time, it's not just about survival. It's about respect, loyalty, and claiming what's ours. Let's